Hey guys, this is Ian with Uncle Nearest. Thank you all for joining us for the summer cocktail series. I'm joined by a few of my colleagues, but you guys know me. I'm Ian in Chicago. I'm gonna let them take it away. May, can you please introduce yourself?
Oh wait, I thought I was just the dancing girl on the side. Okay.
But you do both so well. So let's just give it a whirl.
Wait, we're doing dancing intros. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us for Uncle Nearest Summer Cocktail Series. I'm May. I'm a brand ambassador for Uncle Nearest in Los Angeles, and I'm so happy to join my friends and colleagues.
Yeah, thank you. It's so good to do a show with you. I don't think we've actually done an official Uncle Nearest show together yet.
You haven't. That's because we're trying to keep the artists away from each other.
It would be too much. But hey, Kitty, can you give us a shout? How are you doing?
Yes. Hi. I am so good. How are you guys?
We're doing great.
It's so nice to be here. So my name is Kitty. My real name is Kirsten, but everybody in Boston and in the cocktail world calls me Kitty. It's my nickname. You guys can call me that too. And I am the brand steward, I guess brand ambassador, brand steward is I don't even know. But I cover Massachusetts and now New Hampshire.
Congratulations. Also, Kitty just went full time with us. Congratulations for that.
So thank you.
And,
thank you so much.
And I'm going to take it away over to Gideon. Gideon's joined by a friend. What's going on over there, guys?
Hey, everybody. My name's Gideon. I'm the brand steward for Uncle Nearest in Northern California. We're here in the Bay Area, sunny Oakland, California, at a wonderful bar called Calavera. I brought my good friend Grande. He's the bar manager here, and we're going to be shaking up some cocktails for you.
And it's so good to see you guys at a restaurant. Like, we all miss restaurants and bars so much. And so, Grande, it's so glad to see you making something tonight.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Of course. So yeah, this is the summer cocktail series. You know, we all collaborated together. We created a list of some really great cocktails. I'm going to post a link in the comments in a second. But I'm going to get started. I'm going to build my cocktail for you all. Is that cool? Everyone
Can't
ready?
wait.
Let's do it. So, just so everyone knows, I am making something called the Busy Izzy, which is a Tom Bullock cocktail. Before I assume ignorance, do you guys know who Tom Bullock is?
Actually, no, I don't. I'd love to know though.
He is the first African-American bartender to publish a cocktail book.
Wow.
And he was doing that right before Prohibition. So he actually died in 1964. He was fairly contemporary in his death, but he created a great cocktail book of really beautiful pre-Prohibition and kind of into Prohibition era cocktails. So it's a great key as to what drinking culture was like right before the end. And it's called The Ideal Bartender. I'm going to give you guys a little peek of it here. And it has a number of cocktails. It has really familiar cocktails. You can find some really familiar classics like the whiskey cocktail or the Manhattan. But I'm doing something a little more summery and a little bit more in line with the hot weather. So I'm going to get started. This is a Collins cocktail. This is built in a Collins class. However, because there's going to be some soda water, I'm going to shake it at home. This is a drink that you can definitely build in the glass where you just take all the ingredients and stack them on top of each other, throw them on ice, and then top it with the soda for the bubbles. But for me, because bubbles react so much better when all your ingredients are cold and all of your ingredients are chilled, and you're not going to necessarily be chilling a bottle of whiskey all the time, I'm going to give this a shake, get a little dilution, get a little bit of cold temperature into the base of the spirit of the drink, and go from there. So for this, you're going to need a ½ ounce of lemon juice, another 3/4 ounces of pineapple juice over here, an ounce of sherry. I prefer Oloroso sherry. Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah.
So, I love sherry so much.
I love sherry.
Bartenders love sherry.
So good. This drink, you can be experimental with the sherry. I like an Oloroso. Unless you add sugar to the pineapple juice, which you can do, there's no real sweetener other than the juices themselves. So having the Oloroso it's just a little bit nicer to sweeten it up. But if you prefer a drier cocktail, go with a different sherry. Go with the drier sherry. And to finish that off, we are going to top this with 1.5 ounces of Uncle Nearest 1856. Again, there's no reason that you couldn't use 1884 for this guy. I just think that 1856 and pineapple go so beautifully together. It's just a really great pair. It's a really great combo. So now we're going to shake it up. I'm going to get some ice, which is over here, as you can see. I'm going to do my least favorite thing in the world, which is shaking in front of people.
Oh.
Just enough to get it chilled. When I'm shaking, especially with a drink like this, just to get dilution faster and just be a little easier on the ice, I like to feel the ice kind of vortex spin around the glass. So if you can get like a spinning motion and feel that ice, I think it's just going to make for a smoother drink. So we got our chilled cocktail. We got our giant pint glass, even though you should be using a Collins glass. Don't do as I say, not as I do.
We're at home. We have to use what we have, right?
Exactly. We're at home. Usually have. I almost used a mason jar for this just because I felt like it would be easier.
Who would do such a thing?
And I think I know someone. I think maybe someone would do that. Yeah, just pour it in the glass over ice, nice and chilled, and get your favorite bubbles. My favorite bubbles happen to be Topo Chico.
Carson just love Topo Chico.
Now, if I were just at home, I would probably just enjoy this drink like this. But if you want to impress people with your garnish, there's a number of things you can do. I like to create these kind of little half moon smiles of pineapple and sit up right here in front. But another option, which is really fun and very, I feel like this is a very bartendery thing to do, is to use the fronds of the pineapple, create little bunny ears, have them sit there, and there you have it, guys. The Izzy
so pretty.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
But the best thing about this is that you get to share it. So.
Oh, your beloved.
Yeah. So that's the Izzy Busy. It was created again by Tom Bullock, who is the first African-American bartender to write a cocktail book and publish a cocktail book. And it's a great book. Again, this is the kind of thing that you can really use. This is a great resource to use at home. A lot of these drinks are easy to make. A lot of these drinks are familiar to you. It's just a way that he was building them at the time. And also he has a whole section on punches, which I think is just so great. Like, let's bring back classic punches and really good punches. And his directions are really, really simple and clear. So everyone should check out Tom Bullock.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Ian,
yeah.
Does he give any indications about what type of sherry would have been used then? Probably he didn't, but I wonder if we, I don't know if anybody knows what would have been a common sherry. It's such an interesting category because sherry has so many different flavors and styles, you know?
He just says, he indicates just sherry.
Sherry, you know? Yeah.
And a lot, and when he talks about vermouth, he'll refer to it as just vermouth, so you kind of have to guess that he was talking about
French or Italian, yeah,
Italian vermouth. But every now and then you'll see him be more specific. For the most part, though, yeah, he just says vermouth. He just says sherry. When I'm making this drink today, I prefer to make it with an Oloroso because it's just a little more raisiny, a little sweeter.
Nuttier.
Yeah. Yeah, but he also doesn't have too many specific ingredients. You kind of have to assume a little bit what the method is, but at the end he'll say things. You know, if it says stir well with a ladle, you're probably making a punch. And he also, for this cocktail, he refers to a pineapple syrup, and I use pineapple juice because most pineapple juices that you buy are going to have some kind of sugar added to it. So if you want this drink to be a little sweeter and a little less dry, then just add some sugar. You can even add sugar straight to the pineapple juice and just let it kind of dissolve in that, and that will be good. But my guess back then is they were adding sugar to things that needed a little extra life, to keep it going a little longer.
So
Yeah.
appreciate. Okay, so Ian is a phenomenal mixologist. I have to say, he's kind of held the title for his as the champion of our cocktail competition in our sales meeting. I've always told you the West is coming for you guys. Something else I so appreciate about you, Ian, is that you bring cocktails and stories to life. And I was just wondering, how did you come across Tom Bullock, and how did you learn about him and his book?
I learned about Tom Bullock when I went to a bar in St. Louis. He was born in Kentucky, but he moved over to St. Louis, and he was a bartender at the St. Louis Country Club for a really long time. That's where he developed a lot of his craft. So I heard about him there, and I was really curious about him. And that bar had a piece of property that actually his bar where he had been working before. So they had a lot of history to give. And there's the Tom Bullock book, which is the first, which was pre-Prohibition. Then there's Tiki, that I know of for sure, which I believe is the second cocktail book written by an African American. And then the other book I have, which I'm actually going to show it to you because it was the base for my computer stand to get it the right height. But it's called Drink, and it's by Kurt Maitland. And he is a black. He's a historian and a historian of spirits and cocktails, and a black author as well. So I've been trying to actively find material that is published by African Americans, by people of color, by black Americans, because it's not been a part of my upbringing, and I'm wanting to make it a part of my life going forward, especially with living in the history of Uncle Nearest all the time. That's where the interest came from, and that's why I have this book, and that's why it's my reference point for a lot of drinks nowadays.
That's awesome.
I'm going to be texting you later, picking your brain, and probably ordering the books myself after.
It's really affordable on Amazon. Also, I've gone through and highlighted every whiskey cocktail so that we can use them for our own events. So maybe I should just make a PDF of that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kitty. And actually,
I love that.
You guys, I'm gonna send it over to Kitty. I want to hear what you're going to be making for us tonight.
My turn. Thank you. Well, Ian, you're always a tough act to follow, but here I am. Hi, guys. So we're going to try a drink tonight called the Face Fancy. I want to actually toast two people during my little cocktail presentation this evening. So we're going to start from the top with a little toast to Victoria Butler, because today is her birthday. So I'll ask you all, if you have a bottle of 1884, this is the whiskey that she curated for our company. Victoria is Nearest great-great-granddaughter. She's amazing. She's our master blender. So cheers. Happy birthday, Victoria. And also happy birthday, Chastity, who's a member of our team. Salute.
Happy birthday, Chastity.
Right, so back to my cocktail. So I'm going to be making a drink called the Face Fancy. The Face Fancy was created by a bar called Moonshine 152, which is a fantastic spot located here in Boston. It's located in Southie. So who here has seen The Departed?
Everyone has seen The Departed.
I know. Usually people hear Southie, they think The Departed, they think of the accents, they think that's Boston. It's kind of a little bit true, but it's not the whole story. So Southie is famous for our great accents, for our Irish bars, but it's also home to a variety of wonderful bars, from great dives, great Irish bars, to incredible places where you can get world-class food and drink. And Moonshine 152 is one of the best of every world. It's a bar that is both a neighborhood spot, like the kind of place where you can just show up. They have incredible bartenders. They will be so hospitable to you that you'll feel like you're already known to them, even if it's your first time in the room. And then it's also a place to get world-class food and drink. So that is so much inspired by the owner, who is a fantastic chef named Asia May, so owned by a female, which we love. She is just like a total powerhouse. This woman works, I think she works 7 days a week. Like, I'm not sure what she's doing during quarantine. She's now back to work, but like during quarantine, I think she was probably still working to advocate for our community and to advocate for all the bars and restaurants in Boston that are shuttered. I do want to give a shout out to the entire neighborhood of Southie, because they were the first region of Boston. So before we even had like the shutdown in the city, It was right before St. Patrick's Day, which if you live in Boston, you know, usually things are pretty slow during January and February. And St. Patrick's Day is like a huge time for these bars to like make back all this revenue. It like usually kicks off like a whole season of drinking and going out and stuff. And so Moonshine, as well as like all the other establishments in Southie, decided to close for public health reasons, which is just so incredible. Like, I think it speaks to the core of what hospitality is, which is taking care of your community. So thank you to all of them for having public health in mind. Also on Asia's team is the fantastic lady named Amanda Ray, and she was supposed to come to Shelbyville with us in March. So unfortunately, that's a trip that got canceled, but Amanda will come down with us in the future. Amazing bartenders also work at Moonshine. There's Peter Cipriani, who is one of Boston's most fabulous bartenders. He's been around the way for about 20 years. The kind of bartender where you walk in, and if he's working, his bar is always full. They also have like a huge bar there. Like, it's one of those bars that I look at and I'm like instantly weeded, because I'm like, I just am not fast enough to work that kind of bar and give good service. Seriously, it's a long bar, like 20 seats or something. Devin is an amazing bartender there. He's a fantastic mixologist. The whole team there is just like so fantastic and super early supporters of Uncle Nearest in Boston, which is so amazing. Super grateful for that. They also have, so Boston, I'll segue into this in a minute, but Boston is a very puritanical city. So like truly since the Pilgrims landed here, we have been so puritanistic about liquor laws. It's just, you know, it is what it is. It means we have like an earlier last call, which is great if you're working, but not so great if you're drinking, things like that. So, but Moonshine is one of those places where you can go in at last call and be like, this is it. Like, it is busy. Like, you know that you're at the right place if you're at the place where all of the bartenders and servers and chefs go to grab a drink and grab a bite. And that Moonshine is that place. So also good to know. So if you're from Boston or thinking about coming to Boston and you ever like have a late flight or something like that, super adjacent to the airport and a place to grab a bite until like 1:30 in the morning. So, but it also, don't be deterred if you're like not a nightlife person and you want to have like a beautiful romantic sit-down dinner or enjoy their patio. There's like a little bit for everybody. So love you guys at Moonshine 152. If anybody's watching from Boston or has ever been there, I'd love to hear you guys. Let us know what you think of Moonshine 152. But I also wanted to celebrate the fact that Cocktails for Commonwealth just passed. So Cocktails for Commonwealth, everybody just raise a glass, like whatever, super excited. Yeah. That's, yes, finally. So despite the puritanisticness of our city, it took a while, but we finally are able to serve cocktails to go in Massachusetts, and that's such a big thing. I love the name Cocktails for Commonwealth. That's like a little term that our advocates for it coined, this whole movement. We're the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, so that's like a really cool play on that, but also Commonwealth means that we'll be infusing our bars and restaurants with income in a time when they've been certainly struggling, and also common health, because it's so much safer for us to be socially distancing at home, eating and drinking in the comforts of our homes. So super nice that we have that opportunity now. Jackson Cannon was super impactful in this. Josh from the Quiet Few, Nia Grace, who is one of our supporters. Thank you all for all of your advocacy, as well as Senator Diana DiZoglio, and of course, Governor Charlie Baker. You finally got my email and decided to sign this into law. Thank you so much. So it's not going to fix everything, but if you're from Boston, the Boston area, or probably anywhere in the country, I would recommend trying to have a cocktail to go to support your local restaurants. So let's try our cocktail. So this drink, I think, is going to be going on the cocktails to go menu. All of that being said, like if you're in Boston, this law just passed, so give people a minute to like figure out what they're doing. You might not be able to just roll up to the bar and get a martini, and that's okay. But I'm going to show y'all how to make the face fancy. So I actually am.
Are you scolding someone?
Yeah.
This is real life bartending.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sometimes your honey wants a drink and some food while you're on live. That's okay. He works hard. So I actually am I couldn't find my shaker tonight, which is like such a fail, but I decided to like let it go and just work like I am actually a home bartender, which many of you are going to be. So my mixing tool and also my beverage glass is going to be my Uncle Nearest branded mason jar. Clearly, if it's not Uncle Nearest branded, you could still use it. You could also use like a sports drink shaker or something like that. If you're ever in this kind of bind, don't just not have a cocktail, figure it out. You'll be fine. So this drink follows a pretty simple formula. So it's going to have 1.5 ounces of our Uncle Nearest 1884. So I actually have a jigger to use to work with this tonight, but if you're ever in a situation where you don't have like a tool like this, which is a conical unit of measure with 1 unit on one side that's double the size of the other unit, so this is 1/2 ounce and 1 ounce. You can also use tablespoons, which I think May is going to explain the conversion when she demos her cocktail. But you can also just sort of like remember, like, so if you're making like a big punch and you have, 1 basic unit of measure to work with, just keep it in mind, kind of like the parts, and I'll go through that now. So we're going to do 1.5 of Uncle Nearest. And I'm just measuring half of that top of the measure. And then everything else is so easy. It's a half part of everything else. So I have a half part of fresh squeezed lime juice. You always want to use fresh if you can. I have a half part of peach liqueur.
Is it Jafar?
So delish. I actually have Peche Mathilde tonight, but Jafar is an amazing brand. I know at the bar that created this drink, they use Combier. But that's a great question, May. And I think that I want to encourage any viewers to just like check out those expressions, because there's so much more to peach liqueur than just like a peach schnapps or something like that. It's a great question. And then finally, I have some white cranberry juice. 1/2 ounce of that. Off we go. And then I'm going to add my ice. Again, don't overthink it. I have some really big, nice big and cubes. Oh, it looks like Sandy's here. My cat's in the background.
Perfect.
And then ordinarily, perfect. Ordinarily, if I had a shaker, I would close the top and shake. But tonight, since I'm using my mixing jar, I'm just going to shake right in the jar. And again, just like Ian did, I'm just going to tell by the temperature of like the outside how my hand feels if it's cold. Trying to get nice and cold. So the build ends up being pretty big, so I can either just leave it like with this ice, or I'm going to add a few extra cubes just for fun because it's super hot where I am right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and enjoy it. I have a metal Uncle Nearest spoon straw. And then the final touch will be our lime wheel. Lime wheel just for fun. Beautiful looking garnish. Woo. Use a better knife than the one I have. I have one pre-cut. Don't worry about it. Here's my lime wheel. And there we go. And that's the Fade Cincy.
Awesome. It's so refreshing.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. So that I want to actually invite you all to raise another toast with me, if you're willing. So I wanted to kind of raise a glass for a bartender named Adam Ford in his memory. So Adam Ford is a member of our whiskey family. He's a local bartender, just a member of the Boston community, super well known in the city. I've known him since probably I could go to bars, which is a long enough time. He was also Boston famous as a bike messenger, known for his passion for cycling, and just all around great guy. He passed away last week, unfortunately, too young and too soon. Yeah, so I wanted to just raise a glass, and I thought it would be cool to think about just like all the bartenders that support us, or maybe people in service, maybe it's your yoga teacher, maybe it's someone at your doctor's office, but someone who like impacts your life in a positive way that might not even realize how many lives they're touching and how many people they're helping. So cheers to Adam, cheers to Victoria, and cheers to all of us.
Cheers. That was really beautiful, Kitty. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you.
Bartenders are such a part of our lives for our business, but they're also our friends, and they're the people who support us and work with us. So it's really touching to hear you say that. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
But that was an awesome, beautiful drink as well, and a great, beautiful in his memory. I love using a mason jar at home, especially like back porch cocktails. It's just easier. Shake it up and hand it off. You don't even need, you just throw a straw on it, call it a day.
Don't overthink it. Totally. This drink, like to describe the flavor, it's like tart, it's fresh, it's refreshing. Peach liqueur is really dope with our Uncle Nearest, and I love it with the 1884. And the white cranberry juice. Who knew? I've never worked with white cranberry juice.
Also, we were joined by your friend Jeremy Provost. He stopped by.
Hi!
Yeah,
Jeremy's
hey,
all of our friends.
He's all of our friends.
Hi,
He stopped by and said,
Jeremy.
hey.
Do you remember Jeremy? Yes.
He made the espresso martini, right?
Yeah.
He started the great espresso martini debate. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm gonna turn the spotlight over to May. If May, what you making for us tonight?
Oh, hi guys. So I'm actually going to be showing you the Spicy Lady. It's a cocktail that I created for one of our accounts here in Beverly Hills. It normally calls for blood oranges, but we are going to adjust because blood oranges are actually running a little bit out of season. So we're going to be using Valencia oranges, and it's still quite delicious. So I'm going to walk you guys through. So we're going to go through the most important thing, guys. The most important thing of our cocktail is, of course, our Uncle Nearest. So I'm going to be using Uncle Nearest 1884. Decided to go with a little bit of a lower proof. This is a 93 proof out of our 2 expressions. And we're going to have some fresh squeezed lime juice. This is fresh squeezed Valencia orange juice. This is very different than navel oranges. Navel oranges are a bit sweeter. Valencia is a little bit brighter. It's also lighter in flavor. I tend to think that it's a little bit better in cocktails than using navel. So that's my preference because I couldn't get blood oranges. We also have some chipotle sea salt. Chipotle is made from jalapeno peppers. And speaking of jalapeno peppers, we're going to be using a jalapeno pepper slice. As well as also our lovely sweetener agent, which is our agave, which ran away from me. Excuse me.
Okay, no worries. We're at home. Don't overthink it.
Guys,
I almost forgot the ice.
I have sweetness. I am back with the sweetness. So here I am back with the sweetness. And
full disclosure, Nick had to bring me the ice as I was leading up to my cocktail. So don't worry.
Why don't I have any production assistants?
really nice.
We need to talk to our VPs about getting production assistants. Okay. So pause on that. Let's pretend those 5 seconds didn't happen. All right. Anyway,
right.
So we have our agave, and then we're going to go through some of our bar tools and also some of the things that we can substitute if we don't have, right? So I'm using weighted shaking tins, and of course Kitty just wonderfully demonstrated that you can use a mason jar, or if you have a sports string or a water bottle, you can use that as well. A jigger, if you don't have a jigger, use your measuring spoons, okay? So your tablespoon is going to come really handy. I'm also going to be using a fine strainer because when you're muddling, especially when you're also muddling jalapeno, you really want to make sure the seeds are not going into your cocktail. If you don't have that, guys, look at your tea infuser. Okay. A muddler. And if you don't have a muddler, what's always really handy is your wooden spoon, right? So you can just use the end of this to go and do your muddling. And I think we're ready to go and get started. So normally I build drinks in a big tin, but I have short arms. And I'm going to make this easy for myself. I'm actually going to build it in a small tin because I'm muddling. So we're going to start off with 1 jalapeno slice. I'm going to take my muddler. I'm going to muddle the jalapeno down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 ounces of Uncle Nearest. And if you're using tablespoons, that's actually 4 tablespoons.
4 tablespoons.
It's so good to know.
Good to know, guys, is when you guys are looking, when you guys are at home using your jiggers, please make sure that you are noting the measurements because jiggers come in different sizes. So you might actually think that you're using a 2-inch 2-1, but you might be using a 1.5 1. So just, take a little extra step and look at that because that does make quite a bit of a difference in your cocktails. So we have our jalapeno here. We have our whiskey in here. We are going to do 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lime juice. That's going to be 1.5 tablespoons. So that's the conversion for that. We're going to be adding our Valencia orange. Normally this cocktail calls for blood orange, but quarantine times, we got to make do. We're going to be using 1/2 ounce of fresh squeezed Valencia juice. That actually turns out to 1 tablespoon.
1 tablespoon is
One
what was that again? I'm trying to commit this to memory.
Sure. So 1/2 ounce is 1 tablespoon.
Awesome.
3/4 of an ounce is 1.5 tablespoons.
Oh.
So what we did was 1.5 of, excuse me. See, Ian, you tricked me. But
it wasn't intentional. I'm sorry.
So just to reiterate, 2 ounces of Uncle Nearest, which is 4 tablespoons, 3/4 ounce of fresh lime, which is 1.5 tablespoons, 1/2 ounce of the Valencia juice, which is going to be 1 tablespoon. And then for our sweetener that I had to run and get because it was worth it, we're going to be using agave, and we're also going to be using 1/2 ounce, which is 1 tablespoon. So I'm going to add all of my ingredients in here, and I'm going to load up my shaker with ice. So of course, we always give a little tap on the top, right, to make sure that it's sealed. I'm a very aggressive shaker, so I cannot shake like this, guys, because I will lose my tin. And I know this about myself. You know, to have one hand gripping on the top, one hand on the bottom. You don't go in a back and forth motion, guys. You roll because you want to aerate your cocktail. And what you're doing is you're listening to hear the ice be crushed. And also you're looking for the condensation that's coming out on your tin. And that's how you know you're ready. When you see and hear, it looks like where the joints come together. It looks a little bit like a half moon. You take your palm and you smack it. And excuse me, you're being very stubborn. There we go. See, I have to run for sweetener. I have very stubborn tins. I can't.
Your seal was just too good.
We're going to make it work. Okay, here we go. So I have this awesome Uncle Nearest glass here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take half of a lime and I'm going to do a half rim. Okay. I really like half rim on my cocktails just because, you know, sometimes you want a little bit more of a savory, salty taste, and then other times you don't. And you get to kind of experience the drink both ways. So I'm going to do a half rim of this chipotle sea salt. Okay. And of course, we're going to add fresh ice into our glass. We're going to take our strainer, and so this is, guys, this is the Hawthorne strainer. So we're going to take our Hawthorne strainer and our fine strainer, and we're going to go and fine strain over the top. And then we're going to go and garnish this with a little half moon segment. And here, salute. And what I love about this is it's citrus forward. It is a perfect touch of sweetness with a little bit of spice. Spice with whiskey cocktails. And I'm really here to kind of change your mind about that because we can always need a little whiskey and we always need a little spice. So this is the spicy lady. Cheers, guys.
Cheers to you. That looks like a beautiful drink. I love the color with the orange and the lime juice. It looks so good.
Beautiful.
It looks so, so good. I'm
obsessed with this chipotle sea salt, guys. It adds a little bit of smokiness as well to the savory aspects of the salt. And it's really, really, really fantastic. And you guys, you can make this as a large pitcher, right? Ice on the side. Serve it for your use. You know, for your quarantine, little 2-person, 1-person parties, no judgment, all good.
Yeah, I'm with you, May. I if I'm gonna salt a rim, it's going half the rim because I want it to be. But because if I really wanted it in the whole drink, I would just add it to the drink and shake it up.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Like I would do an air, or I would do, you know, a saline solution. You know, like that's just kind of me. And also, you know, it's for people's preferences. And when you're introducing them to an ingredient that maybe they're not as familiar with, it's a great way to invite them to try. Because if it was a whole rim of sal de gusano or a whole rim of chipotle salt, maybe they wouldn't get out to try it.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna make a PSA right now. If you're gonna get a jigger, just get a Japanese jigger.
Yeah.
Just get a Japanese because it's so much clearer. I think it just reads clearer, and
Yeah.
What is the 10 to 20 bucks that you spend on that thing that you use all the time? I think it's just so beneficial.
They're beautiful too.
So get your Japanese jigger is what I say to that.
Do you guys have any bars that use the measuring cups?
No.
So in Boston, there's a bar called Drink, and this is a large measuring cup. They don't use these unless they're making punch, but they use teeny ones, which I love.
I've seen it. I had a bar
Yeah.
here, and the bartender preferred to do it.
like
That's what she had used her whole career.
Did you like it or no?
I don't. No.
Okay. Did you want to flip that around?
In hotels, and that's only because like I think they like it because it's transparent and you can see the marks. When
Yeah, you see the marks on the side. Yeah.
the side. But I think if you're working at a place that's a little bit darker, a little bit more of a nighttime feel, that gets a little
Yeah, you might be blind. You're me.
yeah, a lot of us eyeball and also know by feel. So I don't like to do my marks as a 3/4 or half an ounce for me personally.
I don't like them because I feel like they're especially those little clear ones where the ounces and the tablespoons, but then you have the same version in stainless steel. Either one, I think, get gunky fast. I think it's hard to clean behind a bar.
Okay. That's fair. The bar that uses these in Boston also doesn't use speed pours.
Oh.
And also,
imagine a shift with no speed pours.
But that bar,
Drink,
you're talking about Drink in Boston, like that bar speaks for itself. I mean, it's a beautiful program. Like
they do it their own way.
They're doing it great. Yeah. Like who am I to judge? Just give me.
I mean, if I didn't have a speed, I'm weeded already thinking about it. But that's cool. I love them. That's amazing. But yeah, that's the part of their style. We'll go when you come to Boston. I can't wait to see you guys.
I can't wait to leave the state of Illinois. It's gonna be so great. After the quarantine.
I want to go see May. I want to go to LA.
I want to go to LA too, but it is crazy over there from what I'm saying.
It is.
Yeah.
But that's okay because we can all hunker down in my apartment and just make Uncle Nearest cocktails and show everyone how.
Yeah, that also sounds great.
And by the way, I bake a lot of pies. I'm just telling you, I bake a lot of pies. I make a lot of whiskey cocktails. I also cook.
Oh my God.
So we're gonna drink well and eat.
Do you make
love it.
pie? That is very important.
This side, I would be very important.
All right. Well, I wanna take this over to Gideon. You guys are up in Oakland, right?
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Hey Gideon, it's good to see you.
Hi.
Why do you have a friend? Tell us about your friend.
So we're in sunny Oakland, California today. We're at the Calavera. It's a restaurant and bar here. It's one of my favorite places. I brought my really good friend Grande, who happens to be the bar manager here. We're gonna make some really cool cocktails. First, I wanted to show off this really cool bar that we have here. Known for their agave spirits, they're also very much into their classic cocktails. And Uncle Nearest happens to be one of their only whiskeys that they sell here. Grande prepared some really cool stuff. But first, I'm just gonna get into rambling. Is that okay, Ian? Can I talk to the people?
I want you to ramble as long as you can. Give it all to me. Tell me your feelings.
I've been going around and we've been doing a lot of talking internally about all the cool cocktail programs that are happening around the country and what happens to all of them and how do the people get to them. And Uncle Nearest came up with all of these really cool cocktail to-go solutions. One of them happens to be these absolutely beautiful branded mason jars. We also have these amazing cocktail kits that you can find in select accounts all over the country. Now, every kit's going to be a little bit different, but this is highlighting some of the to-go cocktails that are available in some of our premium restaurants and bars. In particular, I'm going to unpack this box right here so you can see exactly what's inside of it.
That's beautiful.
So we have some really cool Uncle Nearest swag. This happens to be a cocktail that's been prepared by Grande here at Calavera Restaurant in Oakland. And it's got a really cool bar, church key, we call them when I was bartending, but a beer opener. They still call them church keys?
Thank you.
Yeah, they're so
We
true.
have some dehydrated citrus right here as the garnish for the cocktail. We have a couple of straws. Most of these cocktail kits fit about 3 to 6 cocktails, depending on what the recipe is. So if you want to enjoy this with your loved ones, this is one of my favorite things that we have here. This is the expressions of Uncle Nearest. Now, if you're an Uncle Nearest fanatic like I am, you'll know that 1820 or single barrel is almost impossible to find, and when it's out, it's highly sought after. This is a little cheat sheet that one of our awesome ambassadors put together that has all of the information for all the different SKUs and a brief of the storage. You can find these, definitely collect these, keep these in your house with your collection of Uncle Nearest. We have some really cool coasters that have some different expressions and recipes on the back as well. Coasters are not a throwback thing. Do you guys use coasters? My wife makes me use coasters on everything. The fact that I have more coasters makes it better.
I'm the wife, and I make everyone use a coaster in my house.
I grew up in a coaster house too. Yeah.
Pro coaster.
Okay. It's etiquette.
And then we have these
really cool
masks. As you can see, grande models. These masks right here. These are Uncle Nearest masks. These are part of the Operation Brothers Keeper. Uncle Nearest and Fawn Weaver, bless your heart, sending out masks to literally every single human being in the world. If you need a mask, find an Uncle Nearest supporter. We have masks everywhere for you. But without further ado, let me show you these cocktail ingredients. So this is about 6 ounces of Uncle Nearest whiskey right here, 1884. We have, this is the Aquafaba. Aquafaba right here. Grande is going to tell us about all of these really cool cocktail ingredients. And then we have this Fresno chili pepper and strawberry shrub. And balsamic. Strawberry, Fresno pepper, and balsamic shrub as the sweetening and acidulating agent for the cocktail. And then these ingredients together make the Angela Davis, and that's the name of the cocktail for this particular kit. Grande, without further ado, please tell us all about this Angela Davis cocktail. What's inside of it? What is the inspiration?
Well, the inspiration is to really accentuate the beautiful flavors of Uncle Nearest, the caramel, a little bit of that barrel. And it's also meant to be a summer cocktail. So I use summer flavors that you find that work well together. Strawberry and Fresno is something that works really well. I made this for our restaurant, and in a Mexican kitchen, we had to add a little fuego to it, a little bit of Mexican inspiration. So I added a little bit of chili to this cocktail. Fresnos are a really beautiful red chili that looks very similar to a jalapeno. And if you cook down strawberries with the Fresnos and balsamic and sugar, you get a really beautiful shrub that adds a very beautiful pale pink color to it. Aquafaba is
What is Aquafaba?
Well, I was just about to tell you.
Okay, my bad.
Aquafaba. Aquafaba is actually a vegan baker's secret to emulating egg whites. So if you want to make something, or bake, if you want to bake something, I'm still at work, folks. We're actually in a restaurant.
This is shot live on set right now. There are real things happening here.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
There's nothing like live theater, is all I have to say.
You see the tickets are rolling in. Aquafaba is a way of emulating egg whites in baking, but also it's actually becoming trendy in cocktails. And it doesn't alienate people who are kind of afraid to have egg whites in their cocktail. Also, for the vegan option, so someone who wants to have this cocktail who is vegan doesn't have to turn away from it because it has an agent that adds like dryness and froth to it. Also, it's fresh lemon juice. It's very simple, straightforward. A lot of the work goes into, I would say, the shrub portion of it, but once you assemble it together, it makes a really beautiful, frothy, flavorful summer cocktail that you can probably just drink all day on our patio. We have a beautiful patio that you guys can enjoy. We also make it already pre-batched, and as you see, we have the Angela Davis with the recipe on it.
That's really cool. So then all you do is just put ice in it and then shake it up?
Yeah, no, you can put ice in it, yeah. Shake it up. And you see as it let it set to see the aquafaba do its work.
It looks just like an egg white froth.
A little egg white froth.
But it's vegan.
It's vegan.
I love it.
Vegans in Oakland, California.
That's super cool, and that's just a testament to the creativity and just the sheer like muscle ingenuity of restaurants and bars in around our metropolitan areas that are putting out to-go cocktail programs. Something this complex that you can take directly to your home and perform as if you were a high-grade mixologist. And they're doing all the work for you, and you can take all of the credit. The name Angela Davis.
Angela Davis is a hero of mine personally. She was a Black Panther activist, long time, for decades for Black rights, which is, as you know, is still going on today. She is a local figure in Oakland. She actually teaches at Cal. And
UC Berkeley?
UC Berkeley. I'm sorry, you guys are all over.
Did you know Angela Davis teaches at UC Berkeley? I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So awesome.
How about you too?
Yeah, and she's just been an inspiration and a role model for the movement, and dealing with a Black-owned distillery. I thought it'd be fitting to also highlight someone who's been, you know, a big role model in Black culture as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's awesome. So how about
That's
Calavera
beautiful.
itself? What do you guys do here? What's your specialty? And, you know, tell the people why I love this restaurant so much.
We have a ridiculous amount of mezcal, agave spirits. We call them Agave. Agave is a Zapotec word for agaves. We have a giant book of agaves that we feature on our menus, and we educate guests about them. They're interested in learning about agave spirits. This is what our focus is, but we definitely love making classic cocktails and working with brands like Uncle Nearest to produce wonderful cocktails.
Sweet. So without further ado, should we make a cocktail?
I would love to make a cocktail.
All right. So I'm going to say I have a production assistant because in Oakland, California, we're just spoiled like that. So we're going to bring it in and we're going to watch Grande make this cocktail right out of the box, just like you would at home. First, I want to give a really big shout out to Chris and Jana Pastina, some of my favorite restaurateurs in the world, and also some of the most beloved restaurateurs in Oakland, California. They have 3 restaurants here: Chop Bar, Tribune Tavern, and Calavera here in Oakland. So shout out to Chris and Jana for real for creating beautiful spaces like this for us to do these things.
They're very conscientious of the community. They do so much for the community. They donate. They contribute. We're working on carrying as much Black-owned distilleries, breweries, and wineries in our restaurant. We're actively seeking out to support the community, and we're so happy to be a part of this feat. And I'm so excited to make this cocktail for you. You want to jump in it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right.
Thank you.
Sally, some people like to start with the mixers first. You know, sometimes you start with the whiskey. Sally, if you start with the mixers first and you make a mistake, it's lower cost to waste it.
Okay.
We have, in the professional world, something called a jigger. I think you guys talked about it earlier. There's different types of jiggers. We have the little cup jigger.
I was actually, Grande, I was going to ask you, we had a debate about whether or not you were pro or con measuring cup like that.
Pro or con measuring cup like that?
I actually, I worked with it so long, you know, because sometimes you work at certain bars that have different jiggers, and, you know, it's just not typical to bring in your own jigger oftentimes. So you just kind of get used to the tools they have. But I work with Japanese jiggers and these cup jiggers. We've been doing it for as long as I have. I guess you can like just work with what you got.
How long have you been doing it?
About 13 years.
13 years.
Oh, I've been my way through college.
Yay!
Tips.
You're in 8th grade.
Working in the industry now is
Little baby.
you know, interesting because now the tips are different. The industry is different, and I have a beautiful bar here that we can't even have guests sit at. So that's an issue that we were dealing with during the pandemic. But it's nice to be working.
It's gonna be over soon. So how many ounces of
So
whiskey?
2 ounces of the Uncle Nearest.
So we're using the 1884 whiskey for this. 7 years of aging here at 94 proof. Leaves a lot of room and beautiful fruity flavor notes that mix perfectly with things like strawberry shrubs.
Yes. Speaking of strawberry shrubs, we're doing 1 ounce of the strawberry shrub. Now, dealing with this kit, always be sure to shake things up before you pour it out, because there is settlement and you want it to be fully incorporated. All right. So now we got the Uncle Nearest, the shrub. We got the aquafaba going in next. Shake it
So
up.
how would you make aquafaba if I was at home? How would I make this? If I want to do beautiful, silky, egg white looking cocktails without using actual eggs, how do I prepare this?
Very simply, the easiest way is to go down to your local store, get a can of, say, garbanzo beans.
Garbanzo beans?
Garbanzo beans works really well. You take the juice of the beans,
Not
set
the
them,
beans,
not
just
the
the
beans,
juice.
just the juice. You set them aside, and you can just pour it straight into the cocktail shaker, which we're using today, and it would add the frothiness of egg whites.
So it's the starch inside of the juice from the beans.
Yeah.
Okay.
So use 1 ounce of this as well. You can already see it frothing up right there.
Steady hands.
And seal everything up too. And this is something that's not included in the kit. Fresh lemon juice works best. Store-bought is, if you have it, it still works, but the flavor, you get more of a vibrant flavor from fresh lemon juice. All right. This is also 3/4 of an ounce lemon juice. Now, I'm gonna set it out with some ice. I'm gonna do a nice shake.
Everyone shakes better than me.
Your shake is fine.
Ate it.
Maine's shake is really good, though.
It's pleasant.
It's real good. It's real good.
Oh, thank you. I hope after over a decade, Mark and I got it down.
It's also something I hate doing in front of people. Like, just don't look at me.
Why?
Thanks, Ian.
It's just what it
Of
is.
course. Let me get,
I am what I am.
all right, so we also have a hot burn strainer here. We're going to set that on the top. I'm going to set that on top of the coaster. And I'm going to pour it through the fine mesh strainer. Now, this is something that I typically prefer, is a conjugal strainer, because it creates a vortex. Oh, look at that frothiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
It's
Give the people
beautiful.
what they want.
Milky.
Now, in the kit, because it is sustainable, we have dehydrated lemon wheels. These are
So
beauties
pretty.
because they almost look like glass.
Yeah.
But they're very intense in flavor. Let's go ahead and set that right there. And if you have them at home, cut up some little strawberries. There
That
you
is
go.
gorgeous.
Beautiful.
That's absolutely
Davis.
beautiful.
Angela Davis.
Yes.
So good. Awesome.
Awesome. High five.
Great job, guys.
So just don't forget, the takeaway here is that you can be as creative as you want to during this pandemic. It is a great opportunity to study new cocktails, make new cocktails, push the limits, have fun with safe fun with your loved ones. And if you need a little bit of help, we have bartenders, bar managers, just like Grande, that can provide you with amazing cocktail kits. Do all the work, and you take all the credit.
Absolutely. That was a beautiful
I
drink.
love that. That was beautiful.
It's so
So
good.
I have a question because you're already making me like my eyes are just this big.
Oh.
Beautiful the cocktail is, and I love that you're using Agave because it is vegan friendly, and Fresno chilies. You know, for those of you who are not familiar, they're a cross between a bell pepper because it has that sweetness up front and then a little bit of the heat. I can't wait to try the Angela Davis. What should people order on the food menu that would go beautifully with the Angela Davis? So for all of our Oakland people, start looking on their website and ordering the Uncle Nearest Angela Davis kit. And what should they have for dinner or for lunch?
So I'm Gideon's unpaid production assistant who is going to repeat the question, which is, could you please recommend a lovely food pairing with the Angela Davis for the Oakland community? People come into the restaurant. What should they order with this?
This cocktail is super versatile. I would say it works very well with tacos. We have an amazing torta on our menu, and we also have amazing enchiladas. And I think anything that is a little bit more of a heavier, like, kind of like unctuous food variety, I would say that this will help be refreshing and cut through the fattiness of any of those dishes.
Yeah.
I agree. I think there's great acid on this cocktail from the shrub, but it's almost like the acid from a strawberry versus the acid from like a lime. So it's way more subtle, way more balanced. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And I just want to say to Gideon's unpaid production intern, your work is appreciated and you are appreciated. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, scratch that unpaid part, actually.
Can we pay you?
Very good. Thank you so much, Brandon. That's a beautiful drink. I love that you named it after Angela Davis. What a beautiful person to honor.
So dope.
Yeah.
So
I take it back. I've been paid handsomely.
Awesome. Good. Thank you, sir. What's your name? We talked about who are you?
Hey.
Yeah. Hey.
My name is Benjamin. I'm just a friend of Gideon's. We met at Alexander's before the Uncle Nearest job, and I'm here holding the camera for him.
Good friends.
Hey, Benjamin.
Thanks, Benjamin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gideon. Hey, Benjamin.
Hi.
He's been paid.
He's been paid. Awesome. Well, that looks amazing. I would love to check out your spot. That mezcal collection looks insane.
The room is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's like
nice.
200 different mezcals up there.
I mean, whiskey has my heart, but mezcal is good.
Funny story. We, during the pandemic, we closed down for a couple months. We had to take all the bottles down.
Yeah.
Ooh.
After that, somebody had to put them all back up again.
Who was that?
Oh, that was me. But it was
Like
actually a
cardio?
fun job. It was a labor of love. I got to polish every single bottle and very methodically put them up and design the wall myself. So
I love that.
You guys can make it out here to Oakland and come see it.
I can't wait. I mean, like, is there anything better than an alphabetized bookshelf, let alone a beautifully organized liquor wall? It's just the
Masterful.
No.
It just feels so good when it
I
happens.
love it.
I can't take 100% credit. Chris Pastina, who owns this restaurant, is a great lover of mezcal and Mexican cuisine, and he helps curate this mezcal collection. And it's awesome to work here, and I got to learn a lot. And I've been here for 5 years, and very happy to continue to do the work here, and have guys like Gideon come over and do videos with.
Give him the elbow.
So awesome.
Give him an elbow for all of us too.
I know.
I hope you guys can hear us. We're like muffled. We have masks on.
No, you were great.
Yeah, you're
We got
doing great.
everything
We
out.
have gloves, we have protection, we have masks. It's the kind of quality you can expect from an establishment like Calavera.
It's so important. It's so great. Yeah, and thank you guys for being so responsible. What we need now is
Wow.
places that are comfortable and safe to go to. So thank you for doing your part. And that I gave you guys a shout in the comments. I hope people start to visit in and look for the Angela Davis. Yeah,
Thank you.
very good. Very good. So, we're coming towards the end of the night. I guess I wanted to ask you guys, I'll throw it to May. Is there anything happening in LA that you want to talk about? Any spots that are showing us some love?
We have tons of wonderful fine establishments right now. We're waiting to see what's going to happen in terms of dining, being able to dine, in patios and to go. So of course, we are so thankful to be featured at Spago at Wolfgang Puck. We have a Boulevardier cocktail there. Also in Venice, we are featured as their old fashioned. We also have a wonderful old fashioned cocktail kit at a lovely place called Tiato's in Santa Monica. And, our bartenders miss us. And we miss them as well. So please make sure to support your local restaurants and, do to-go cocktails and also to-go food. And they show us so much love and hospitality. And I think it's wonderful for us to be able to give it back, and can't wait to go and join all of you guys for a toast when we are able to go and see each other in person.
Yeah. Absolutely. Here in Chicago on Friday, you can actually catch me at an actual bar.
Yay.
Good measure. We're going to do a week of Uncle Nearest cocktails. So we have a slushy cocktail that I'm not going to talk too much about because it sounds delicious and I want it to be a surprise. But we're doing the Izzy Busy as a punch. So you can have that table side, and everything's going to be done in an open parking lot that they've taken over and turned into a beautiful outdoor patio. And I have another spot, Rogers Park Social, which is my old bar when I used to bartend, the last place I was working. They're doing a to-go old fashioned. It's a nice classic old fashioned in our beautiful jars. And you can catch us at the rooftop at Fountainhead. So, Kitty, what's happening by you? I know that the to-go cocktails are kind of new for you guys.
Yeah, they're just getting going. So I do want to give a shout out to a nonprofit that just started here in Boston called the Boston Black Hospitality Coalition. They are a group that's organized in Boston. So unfortunately, Boston, obviously, well, maybe not obviously, whatever. Boston is a very segregated town. Unfortunately, in the city of Boston, of the 1,200 liquor licenses that we have, only 8 are Black owned. So a bunch of our local community or bar owners have organized to form a nonprofit that can support these bar owners while they're trying to open and get their feet under them as a result of COVID. So I would love if people could turn their attention a little bit towards the Boston Black Hospitality Coalition. Give them a shout out. Daryl's Corner Bar and Kitchen. Nia Grace is the owner there. She is one of the women who founded the coalition. Wally's is a historic Boston restaurant as well. A place called Slade's, which is super impactful and important in Boston. District 7 Tavern, all of those places are trying to open. So this coalition is hopefully going to help them get up and running as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. But we also have, of course, Moonshine 152 doing a to-go cocktail on their menu. Starlight Lounge is going to add one of our a cocktail with Uncle Nearest to the menu, which is super exciting. That's over in Somerville. And yeah, we're just getting going. I think the Porch as well, which is in Medford, they're going to be working with our products as well. So we'll see how things roll out. I think everyone's getting their feet under them and trying to get going with the new cocktails to go thing. But it's going to be awesome, and I'm super excited to see what everybody does.
Yeah, and talking about the Boston Black Hospitality Coalition, I just threw their website in the comments. That's blackhospitalityco.com. Thank you for bringing that up. I did not know that had started. That's what a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. So they're actually going to be starting to do beer gardens and different types of events. Just pivoting and trying to make things work for their different restaurants and bars. So look out for us supporting those.
Yeah, definitely. And check them out at blackhospitalityco.com and give them very much love. You know what, you guys? I think we've come to the end of our night. And
Can I just chime in and add one quick thing? Because we have all these lovely places that are doing Uncle Nearest to-go cocktails, you guys can always go to unclenearest.com, and on our website is a portal where you can go and just scroll down, put in your zip code, and it's going to show all of the places that carry Uncle Nearest as to-go cocktails. So we're everywhere. So
we're everywhere, so check us out.
Review.
Yeah, that link is in the comment feed. If you do need it, you can find it there. Thank you, May, so much for bringing it up. And I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna have you give us a toast to cheers out the night.
Okay. Here is to family, community, brighter days ahead to all of us. Cheers. Silly.
Cheers to you, May. Thank you so much. Taylor couldn't
Cheers.
make it in tonight, so she couldn't join us. But check out our cocktail in the link in the comments. I'll add it to the feed again. Cheers, y'all. Have a wonderful night.
Cheers.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.